Now I'm going to talk about food webs. So what is food web? So food webs is a diagram to show how the energy flows in an environment. And did you know that food web is also related to the food chain? So let's explore about it. So food web and food chains. What is the difference of food web and food chain? Well, in food chains, it is presentations that's to show how energies travel in an environment. Like the sun given to the plants given to the deer, and the wolf eat the deers, and the decomposers it's the wolf and it's related to each others. So what is food web? Food web is a diagram to show the flow of energies in an environment, like the plants provide to the ground squirrel, the bird, and the grasshopper. The grasshopper provides energy to the bird and the ground squirrels, and they have choices in the food web. So now we are exploring about how the food chain work. How do they work? Well, first exploring about the parts of the food chain. Well, the food chains first is near the sun to provide energies, and then we have the organisms. That organisms are divided into two groups, the producers and the consumers. What is producers? Well, producers is the organism that can provide their own energy or their own food. And a consumers is the organism that cannot provide their own food. They need to depends or eat other organisms to get energy. So what is a producers in a swamp and a desert? Well, maybe in a swamp we have some little flowers or cactus that they are producers. They provide energy to the frogs or the dragonflies. And in the desert, the cactus is the producers. Maybe the turtles or the hell or maybe the camels depends on the cactus for their food source. So now we're going to talk about consumers. Well, consumers have three kinds of consumers and have two groups of consumer tools. So first let's exploring about the two groups. Well, in a food chains, the consumer is divided into two groups that are primary consumers and secondary consumers. Well, what is primary consumer? Well, primary consumers is the consumers that it's the producers, like the organism that eats the producer or eats plants. And the secondary consumers are the organism that eats or gets energy from the primary consumers. So let's exploring about the kinds of consumers. So consumers is divided into three kinds. They are herbivore, omnivore, and carnivore. So what is herbivore? Well, herbivore is the organism that only eats plants. And the herbivore always being the primary consumers. And And then we have the omnivore. The omnivores, that are the organisms that can eat both. Can eat plants and also meat. And the omnivore can be the primary consumers or the secondary consumers. So last we're having the carnivore. Carnivore are the organisms that only eat meat. It's always being the secondary consumers because it doesn't eat plants, or their bodies or their shape or their mouth is not created to eat plants. So lastly, I will talk about the change in the food web and food chains, and also how the food web and food chain transfer energy. Well, let's get started. Well, in the food chains, the energies travel in an environment, and when it travels, it decreases, and the energies in a food chain pass, and it's passed until no animal can eat it. Here we have a pyramid. Well, in the lowest point, we have the producers, then we have the primary consumers, the secondary consumers, the tertiary consumers, and the quaternary consumers. As the energy travels in every level, it decreases. So here 100%, that is only 20%, that is only 5%, here is only 2%, and here is only 0.5%. Okay, what can change the food chain? What are changes in the food chains happens all the time. The food chain can be changed by the seasons, people, climates, and the natural disasters. Example, like when it is hot and warm in the summertime, the grass can grow, but then the winter comes, the grass will die or decrease down. So, what food source can the mouse depend on? Well, if the grass is nowhere there, the mouse will perish or die too. And the snake, who are predators of the mouse, they will decrease too. And the owl, the predators of the snakes, is also die too, because there are no more snakes for the owl to eat. So if something changes in the food chains, the whole chain change. So here the grass decrease and the whole chain decrease. Grass increase, the whole chain increase. So we have talked about food chains, and what about food web? Well, the changes in food web can make the food web unbalanced. The changes by them in the food web or outside the food web. Let me tell you examples. Well, here is a dog that I kept as a pet, but then I don't want to keep it as a pet, so I just keep it around. And that wild dog came to the savannas. And in the savannah, you know they have lions, cheetahs, and tigers. And the wild dog eats all the primary consumers, like the hare or deer or the kangaroo. So that were no food source for the lion, cheetahs, and tiger for it. So it will die. So this dog came to the savannas, and the secondary consumers in the savannas, they don't have any food, so they perish or move to other place for food source. So that is the strangers that come from another environment come to this environment. So that was on our topic today. Remember, food chains is the presentations who show the energy travel in the environment, and food web is a diagram who show the flow of energy in the environment, and it have many choices in the food web. So thank you for listening. Goodbye and see you. Have a great day.